One of those things where so my mom gave me Deuce when I was born, and growing up, it was always in school. It was Chris. Football, it was Deuce, and then my mom had an opinion to that. She was like, I really like Deuce. So that's what she always called me, and it's funny. My sisters don't call me Deuce. My dad's starting to, but it's gotten to the point where my mom tells everybody I'm Deuce. Like people don't even know Chris is my first name anymore, and whenever somebody says Chris, they look at me like who's Chris? So it was one of those things in high school. I think it was like beginning of high school. Mom's like, you're going by Deuce, like that's you, like it's your alias from now on. That's your name. I'm like, all right, I really like Deuce, so I just rolled with it.
That's how you picked your jersey too.
Yes. So it was always gonna be 2 or 22, and then one year I remember, I think it was two was gone, so I had to put 4. And I was like, I don't want to be 4. I want to have 2 in it. So 2 plus 2 was 4. So I went with 4 because I remember like the jersey size was like too big for 22 for me. So I had to go with 4. And then once I got to high school and everything, in middle school it was 22. Yes, sir. But yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice little icebreaker right there. I like that. No doubt.
Hey, talk to us about Felix's play on Saturday. What did you see watching that back, and then what were people saying to him in the locker room?
Man, so whenever we punted it and we downed it inside the 5, it was one of those things where anytime the opposing team's inside the 5 like that, you're gonna watch and make sure, hey, 'cause the offense is alert. It was one of those things whenever I saw him come off the ball, because I was watching. Whenever I saw him come off the ball, it was one of those things where it was like he got shot out of a cannon into the backfield, and he got him back there for a safety. It was one of the craziest plays I've seen out of a defensive player. And watching it back, it was even crazier. And seeing him on NFL Live and ESPN was, I mean, that's something that's something crazy. And he deserves all that recognition because he's somebody that he's gonna be a really good player for a very long time, and his work ethic and everything. So everybody talking to him, we're messing with him like, man, you're the guy now. You're the number one. You're the talk of the town and everything like that. So that's my guy, and we're definitely giving him not a hard time, but a good time about everything the recognition he's getting.
You ever seen somebody drag an offensive lineman across the field?
Not like that. And I saw somewhere like the guy was 6'7", 300, and I was like, if anybody's gonna put somebody on their back and carry them 5 yards, it's gonna be Felix. You see him squat 500 pounds, 600 pounds every single day, and you're like, all right, yeah, like that. That's just another day for Felix. He's ridiculous.
Was Tyson getting, I wouldn't say as much attention in the locker room, but probably similar for how he closed?
No, yeah, he's Legatron. He's Legatron. I think it was like an 81-yard kick. Yeah, it was one of those things where you had to do it back to back too, and I think it was the second one that went further than the first. And he really swung the game at that point in the time because they only needed a field goal to go up, and he pinned them. He kicked the ball, I think, inside like their 15 or 10, and really made the stress on them to get down the field and try and kick a field goal. And he's a big time player, and we see it every day in practice, the leg strength that he has, and so we're definitely. I mean, I started calling him Legatron at the beginning of the season, so you're really getting to see it now on Saturday.
Deuce, is it important to, I mean, I know you're moving the ball through the air right now, but is it important to use a running back to get back to the basics and have another good running game here?
Of course. I feel like that bringing that balance back to the offense would be good for both the passing game and just the entire offense as a whole. And right now, we've been given a lot in the passing game, and Skylar Thompson's been doing a great job of getting a lot of players the ball and rotating guys in, and they're playing well, and everybody's touching the ball and everybody's helping out in the passing game. That's kind of what's been our successful point on offense right now. The O-line's blocking really well in the passing game, and it feels like it's been an emphasis for the defense to try and stop the run these past few weeks, and it's one of those things we kind of have to go with the flow of the game, and we passed the ball a lot more than we ran it. We were very successful in it. It helped us get the win, but getting back to the basics and running the ball is going to be something that I feel like we're gonna try and do against TCU this week.
Chris, that crossing route that you made, I think it was third quarter when you made the juke moves. At what point do you figure you drug across the field far enough, or versus you keep running and
Right.
it's got to hit you?
It was one of the that drive route. It's one of those things where if they drop into a zone, a soft zone, I'll run all the way across to about the hash and sit. on that play, they dropped pretty deep. So I kind of kept going, and I saw Skylar trying to keep the play alive, so I didn't want to kind of just stand. I wanted to get into his view, so I kind of kept going and feathered out a little bit more. And then we talked about it. He was actually going to throw the ball away. So and then he saw me and kind of flicked it out there, and it was one of those things where when I turned upfield, it was 1-on-1, and I made the one guy miss, and then the second guy came, and it was one of those things where I was kind of in autopilot. I really didn't see him coming, and kind of stuck my foot in the ground and jumped backwards, and Hadley Panzer comes and gets a great seal-off block to get me the edge, and then stiff arm a guy and stay in bounds. And it's one of those plays where it happens, you can kind of like, all right, that just happened, and then you get back to the next play, and you're ready to go try and score and help your team win the game.
All those moves, are those instinctual, or is it something you think about at all?
It's crazy. The first one, whenever I see a guy coming head on, it's one of those things where it's I think about it a little bit, but that second one was purely instinctual. I couldn't even tell you how fast that went by, and then I was running up the sideline. But it's hard to explain. But the first guy is always one of those things like, all right, like 1-on-1, let's
Almost
go.
then.
Yeah, it's like 1-on-1, let's go. And then the second guy, it's one of those things where it's just purely instinctual.